Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hollow Knight Marauders podcast. I'm AJ, and I'm joined here by my bombad coven of
That's
Jamie and Matt.
That's a good one. That's a good choice.
I don't know.
That's a choice.
Bombad
That's good, though.
Acolytes is kind of just too easy, I guess.
No, Coven was a good one for this episode, I think. That was
We're allowed to say it because Salem is only like 45 minutes away. Okay,
That's true.
We're allowed
True.
to say it.
We totally were not talking about Boston things before this for some reason. But anyways, Matt does not have an accent.
I have an accent. Comment down below about my accent. Make fun of me.
This isn't the show, but okay.
So we're joined here today by our friends from Punch It Chewie Podcast, Erikel and Bella. I almost messed it up. I'm so sorry. We practiced beforehand. How are you guys doing?
Good. Great. Thank you for having us, guys.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
I was saying to you guys, we've kind of I feel like we've been aware of each other a bit online, communicated a little bit here and there, liking each other's things.
Like half of your pins are on that board behind me, by the way.
Hey, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shout out to Punch It Chewie Press pins. Yeah, Punch It Chewie Press.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually our 8-year anniversary today.
It is. Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I knew it all
8 years of
along.
making pins.
Yeah. It's been a wild journey, but it's been fun.
Yeah, so it's amazing to have you guys on to talk with you guys. We have a great episode, a Chewy episode, as Matt called it, to talk about.
You don't put the first sentence I said. I said there's a lot to chew on in this episode. It's chewy. Nobody gets it.
This is the first time we've talked to you guys, really. So we want to get to know you in our Get to Know You segment. And I have a question for each of you, because each of you guys have kind of done your own cool thing in the fandom so far. I know both of you probably do work on the pin stuff for Punch It Chewie Press. But how did that all get started doing Punch It Chewie Press with the pins?
Dude, you want me to? I mean,
you're there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been drawing my whole life. I've always been an artist. Majority of my early life very much in the closet, didn't show anybody what I was doing.
Yeah.
But we always had. I mean, obviously, grew up loving Star Wars, and that's half of what I would draw. And the other half was like my own little comics and stuff like that. But it wasn't until Bella and I started dating that we really connected over Disney pin trading. We started going land as soon as we started dating, and then we took a trip to Disney World very early on in our relationship, where she had never traded before, where the staff has the little pin trading boards and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we can just buy a starter lanyard with it comes with a few pins, and then you can go around to all the little stands and trade. And the moment we got the first starter lanyard, she just snatched it and just booked it to the first pin trading station. And then she started finding a bunch of them, and then I was running after her. She just went off, and we bought I don't know 8 or 9 of those starter sets just to keep trading because we were at the parks. So it kind of started there, and then we just kind of saw after a little while we started going to so we're here in San Diego, so Disneyland is not too far from us, hour and a half. So on the weekends we started going to the pin trading like a
meetup.
Meetups on Saturdays and stuff. And those were a lot of fun, and the community is very fun, mostly positive, but every community.
That's a good one.
Yeah. We know what it's like. So once we started hanging around those people, we started seeing that some fans and collectors were making their own pins, which we were like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
because they would make them of pretty much mashing up 2 different Disney movies, and one of my favorite, most memorable ones that people made. I forget the artist, unfortunately, but they were making a series of pins, and it was Baymax, but he was it was called Baymax Invades, and he was going into each different Disney movie. So it was like Baymax interacting with Mulan and Mushu, or him interacting with Stitch and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we started seeing that, and we were like, hey, nobody makes Star Wars ones. And then Bella was like, well,
you can draw.
You can, like, and for a while I was like, I don't know if you know, like, for an artist, that's like the hardest thing to do, is like, you know, start sharing your work. So I mean, from there on, like our very first pin, and again, this wasn't even thinking about making it a business or like, you know, full time or anything like that. This was purely for, hey, this would be a cool pin that we could have in our collection. We take only one. The minimum is 100. So what are we going to do with the other 100? So we started trading with people, and obviously didn't tell them like, oh, these are Disney pins. We were like, no, we made these, but if you want to trade for them, you can. And we started trading them for pins that we had been looking for a while. And then if we couldn't trade, people were like, hey, I'll buy it off of you. And just kind of like, it evolved from there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah. So it's been a journey.
Pin trading is like one of my favorite things as well. Like we go to PAX East, and I know there's PAX West and everything as well. And like I love to do all the pins there. Star Wars Celebration, I love to collect all the pins and trade and all that.
Pin booth in line.
Pins are like I collect Lego. Lego's one of my things, but Jamie and I definitely collect a lot of pins. That's probably one of our favorite forms of art. And like Jamie said, we have like a whole board of your stuff.
Yeah, like that's how I discovered you guys, like from the past of just like your pins. So there was actually, speaking of Lego, one design that you guys had that was the stormtrooper but in the bathing suit.
Oh my god, yes,
the minifigure. That is one of my all-time favorite pins. I'm not even kidding. Like that is the minifigure with the stormtrooper helmet, and he's just like chilling. Like that one is my all-time favorite. So like he's on a bag downstairs actually, because I use that one. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Honestly, the Lego ones are like my favorite ones to work on, because I mean, it's Lego.
Yeah.
But thank
you guys
you. I'm glad.
You did the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan like menu, like the like the HUD. What do you call that?
That was them.
Yeah. That's one of my
player
favorite
icons.
Yep, player icons.
The default, like player 1, player 2.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you right now, and people have been calling me crazy because I'll tell them this at conventions, because they're like, we those were the first two we did, and then we did like Boba and Jango. And we just did Vader and Luke, and people are like, these are awesome, like you should make more. And I'm like, I want to make all of them. And they're like, nah. And I'm like, I'm gonna make all of them.
No, I swear.
You should have one that's like the question mark too, where you haven't unlocked it yet. I don't know if you have that as an idea, but that'd be kind of cool.
I don't.
The chase.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the chase. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Just came to me.
I'll do it.
I'll send you one.
But anyone that's watching or listening to this, definitely check them out. I just see that we got our first ever like super chat in. That's cool.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
There you go.
That's
wild.
There you go. Get your pins in there, guys.
We'll definitely restock the Lego Boba just for Will. Thank you.
But yeah, thank you for that super chat. That's very generous.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
But yeah, everyone go check out their pin shop. It's amazing. And Bella, I wanted to bring up that you started your own thing recently as well, Stargirl magazine, which has been really cool to see. I know you've had a few different cover ladies, cover people so far. But yeah, how did that all get started? And tell us about that.
Yeah, so it started out of kind of a frustration for kind of the current state of the fandom. But I wanted to turn that negativity into something more positive and uplifting. So I had this idea. Well, you were the one that had the idea to do like a magazine format, because I wanted to do something that was community focused, but I didn't know how. I was like, if I make an Instagram or a TikTok, like, how does that really work? Like, how could multiple people contribute to that? And then he was the one that had the idea of like, why don't you do it like a magazine? And I was like, ooh, I like that, because it's like more old school. I grew up reading like fashion magazines. So that was like my obsession, my like young teenage years. And I just always loved how collaborative it was, how you got like a little bit of everything and so many different like artists and writers and models and everyone got to like be a part of something. So I was like, we really don't have anything like that in the Star Wars community. Like, of course, there are zines, but I haven't seen anyone do like a digital magazine. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go for it. And I'm very blessed that I have a solid group of friends that are also really excited about it, that are also designers, graphic designers, and writers and stuff. So it's been a really special project working on something that is larger than just myself. And I really want to create a space that's for everyone, not just girls, right? It's called Star Girl. We want to highlight female presenting people, but it's for everyone. And I want everyone to feel welcome. But yeah, it's been really fun working on that. And actually our 4th issue comes out tomorrow.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
want to check that out, stargirlmagazine.com.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
I recommend everyone to go check that out as well. I think it's, I mean, I think it's amazing you both have done, like we're over here doing our little podcast thing. It's fun to have our own little stage doing this. You guys are doing unique things as well with the pins, the magazine. I don't know why, but the magazine makes me think back to like Rocket Power.
Oh, I was just about to say Rocket
The
Power.
zine.
Reggie had the zine. I thought it was the coolest,
Yeah.
the coolest
Reggie
thing to make
Rocket,
a
dude.
magazine. So like,
Yes.
that's super cool. And just a really cool, unique thing you're doing. So,
Yeah.
and I've
Thank
seen like
you.
you
I
have
appreciate
Jen
it.
Marie. Jen Marie is a good friend of ours as well. Like she's awesome. You
Yeah.
have her there.
She's so
yeah.
sweet.
She was an awesome cover girl. It
Yeah.
was- she's so much fun.
It's an awesome like project because like zines in Star Wars and zines in like fan communities in general are just like so important to like early fandom, and so it's so cool to actually seeing it like brought back, and it's just such a cool project. I love every single thing that comes out. So
Thank
Yeah.
you. That means a lot. Thank you.
But yeah, it's super cool to learn that about you guys and hear a little bit extra about that. You both definitely gave a lot of great details with all of that. I guess it's a good transition point. Like that was a fun thing. And I know Bella, you talked about like the state of the fandom and everything. And we usually do our question of the week here. And I should have like brought this up before we got on here, but I wanted to
just gonna throw us into it.
to kind of get more of a serious tone and address things with the fandom. Like we're not going to get too beefy or anything, but like
No, of course.
Not too chewy.
I had this all planned and I don't know how to say it, but like there's like your casual Star Wars fan, I feel like gets influenced, and I guess that's who I'm trying to speak to out there, gets influenced by these negative YouTubers, negative people online. They see the thumbnails. Like I know people in person that like see these things and just kind of run with it, and they think like it's normal to hate Star Wars and stuff like that. And like Matt or Jamie or even Erikel or Bella, like if you guys want to chime in here and
Can I give my little lesson that I like told you about earlier today, AJ?
I get passionate about these things and I kind of lose my way, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the way that we were like talking about this earlier today was I just want to bring up the concept, well, the version, the term implicit bias and unconscious bias. I just want to like bring that up. And so like for those who like aren't aware, like implicit bias is essentially like a subconscious favoritism and or prejudice towards something, which is usually towards like a group, a social group, either social group, cultural, or gender. And it's something that you don't even realize that you have a bias towards until, because it's just something that like has always been the way that you think, or that's the way your parents thought, that's the way your siblings think. And so therefore you just think it, you don't even think twice about it. So that is like what's happening in fandom is people have been like, oh, it's always been like this. I don't need to think of it for myself. I'm just going to think of what everyone else thinks because that's the only way to think. But it's like, you got to like take a step back and be like, actually think it through and be like, is this actually something I'm looking to criticize? Or is this something that I just think stinks because everyone else says it stinks?
Yeah.
Like that's the real situation here. Like it's valid to have criticism. It's not valid to like be out here trashing things just because you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that is the situation.
I saw I think I saw a post, I think we shared it the other day by you, Bella, that was like people that are hating on Star Wars. I don't know how you worded it, so I'm sorry if I messed it up, but like you said, like people should take a step back, take a break, maybe go back to the things you enjoy with Star Wars to try to fall in love with that again. And I think that was really well said. And it's like I don't know. It's something that I wanted to bring up today because it seems with this show, a lot of these people have been coming out, and I don't know.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right.
As my man Cobb Vanth here would say, like, think it through. Jamie just said that. So.
Literally. I mean, the thing is, like, this show is not the usual thing Star Wars fans have consumed in the past because it's different. Period.
Yeah.
That's why. It's not because like of anything different. It's just like something we've never consumed before, and there's nothing wrong with that because there are so many kinds of Star Wars fans, so many kinds of people. Just because it's not like your normal content that you would watch doesn't matter. Like it's still Star Wars. If you're not liking it, it's okay to take a step back and go watch something else.
You don't have to watch it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And pick up a different toy.
Like watch like a recap later if you feel the need to know like what's going on. Like it's just like it's okay. Like it is okay to like just like not watch it. Like I take so many breaks from Star Wars. Like I saw your post the other day, Bella, and I like went back about I like retweeted it and everything saying that like I take so many breaks from Star Wars all the time, and I don't even interact like with the fandom like deeply. Like it's ridiculous. Like I'll say this to AJ all the time, and he'll be like, "Oh, what do you mean you're taking a Star Wars break?" I'm like, "I'm taking a Star Wars break. I'm gonna watch like Fallout lore videos until like my ears bleed because like it just like it helps." But like it's so silly, but it's so necessary at the same time to take those breaks.
Yeah. I've fortunately come to a point since we've been doing this now 8 years where it's like we used to post once a day like every day for like years,
like 6 or 7
years. I was constantly online trying to stay up to date and all this stuff, and like look, like I love Star Wars. I mean, that's why we're all here. We all love Star Wars. I could eat, sleep, drink, everything Star Wars, right? But I've gotten to a point where it's like I have like an aversion to my phone at this point because I can't go on. I can't like recently people and friends have gotten a little mad at me because I've just gotten really bad at like getting back to people. So yeah, I'm sorry. It's just like it's like at this point I'm just overwhelmed. So what I just kind of subconsciously did was like pretty much what Bella was talking about on that post was, because of all of the rat that's going on places like Twitter and just the internet in general, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna not go on the internet and I'm gonna read some comics or read a novel that I haven't read yet that I have 100 of on my bookshelf that I haven't gotten to yet. I don't need to be consuming new Star Wars or what people think about new Star Wars or whatever it may be, right? And I don't know. I feel like personally by doing that, I feel like I had forgotten how to enjoy Star Wars, right? I had forgotten what brought joy to my my world. I guess I don't know how to word this. This is a very weird thing, but I don't know, like growing up I didn't have friends. And like most of the people around me were like, "Oh, you're lame because you like Star Wars. We're not going to talk to you." So like all I had was Star Wars, and you're
like, I'm used to being a fandom of one.
Exactly. So like
this isn't news.
At this point, like I grew up in such a weird place, being a nerd and like a Star Wars fan. Like everyone was like a jock, or like they were like, "Oh, that's nerdy. Like get out of here." So it's like, to me, this isn't new. Like all this negativity and like people telling you that you're lame for liking something, like to me personally, that's not new. And like, obviously we're all, everyone is coming into fandom at their own point in life and at different points in time. So it's like, we're all going to process it differently, but like no one has the right to tell you can't enjoy something.
Yeah.
No one like, and no one. And like someone's review of something shouldn't sway how you feel about something, especially if you haven't watched it or read it or whatever it may be. So I don't know. I'm at a point where it's like, I'd rather detach myself from the arguments. I don't argue with people. I'm just like, well, I liked it.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry you don't.
It's the healthiest way to handle it.
It is. And I guess it's tricky because like we do some of this stuff online, and it's like, you know, we've all been to Star Wars Celebration, and like that is just the best, hanging out with Star Wars friends. So when we're not there, I love that. The best version of that, I guess, is online, or like, you know, if you're good friends with the people, you can text them and talk about Star Wars, or have a podcast with people and talk about Star Wars, and it's really fun.
Exactly.
So I guess but the right route is probably what you said. Like, you know, if I'm enjoying it, that's all that really matters. And like, I wish I could go back to simpler times, like watching the prequel trilogy as a kid, and like riding around on my bike pretending it was a Jedi starfighter, and like not caring about. I never heard what anyone said, so I didn't care.
A lot of fans nowadays grew up in the prequel environment, where they weren't on the internet because they were kids, and they just enjoyed the new Star Wars for what it was. You know, me included. I didn't realize that the prequels were controversial until I, you know, was old enough to go on the internet, and by then, you know, I had already been.
60-year-old man told you should hate.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, I love these movies, you know, and I had already formed my opinion. I already fell in love with them, and anything you know people were saying online, I was like, interesting, but I still like these. It's just always been the case, and you know, it's been this way since like 1999, 97 with the special editions, 83 if you count people hating on the Ewoks. Like, it's always been ever present.
Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Yeah,
it's older than I am at this point. It is, exactly. It is. It's a bit exhausting, you know. But it's like, I just find it very ironic. We are fans of Star Wars, and one of the biggest themes and ideas in Star Wars is about not holding on to your hatred, letting things go that you don't like, and just, you know, embracing the things that you do. And for the fans to kind of miss that, or not see that they're giving directly into the kind of things that George Lucas made Star Wars to tell you not to do.
They miss the point.
They miss it. I think it misses the point, and it's disappointing that so many people kind of fall into that trap.
Ironic.
It's ironic, exactly.
That's what someone said.
And I think there's an important distinction, because like a lot of people will be like, "What do you?" You're just telling me I have to like everything out, and it's like, no, that is not the point. Like, you can like what you like and not like what you don't like, but let people enjoy what they want to enjoy, and don't try to rob someone of a good experience just because you don't agree with them. And the point of being a fan and interacting with other fans is to hear different perspectives and to hear what people think. And maybe you'll change your mind, maybe you'll change their mind, but the mentality of I need to win, or I need to prove someone wrong, or I need to make them look like an idiot doesn't help anyone. And even if you like win that argument, you don't walk away feeling better, right?
No.
Like, you feel
still
horrible after like an interaction like that.
Very
That's
true.
why Star Wars Celebration is so awesome, because when you're face to face with people, you're inclined to be less of a jerk. And so, you know, all the people we meet at Star Wars Celebration, not all of them like the same things we do. In fact, I would probably say that nobody I meet at Star Wars Celebration has the exact same taste in Star Wars I do. And that's okay. You know, we have fun. We talk.
The conversations are at least civil.
The conversations are civil. Nobody's jumping down each other's throats, and everybody is just celebrating the things they do enjoy instead of focusing on the things they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Maybe you know. Go out and go to an expo sometimes. Go to a convention.
An expo.
You know?
An expo?
I was thinking about Fan Expo this weekend. Exposition, fan convention, whatever you want to call it.
Anyways, I mean, I think that was all some pretty good points, Spice. We don't want to dwell on the negativity too much, because
of
we
course
have a good episode to talk about here.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty good transition point, because I had a question for you guys.
Question.
That is not the question of the week. I mean, I guess it could be, but anyways.
It is.
So this is a problem I've seen with some of the people. Like, they want like not instant gratification, but they're like, oh, what's going on in the story here? Like, this doesn't make sense. But we're 3 chapters into this story. Like, we're not done.
8-chapter story.
Yeah.
Or maybe even more. Like, you know, if there's a second season, and like, there'll be more.
Yeah.
But do you think Disney Plus and Star Wars would benefit from? And this isn't saying I want that, but benefit from having it all drop at once. Like, a lot of like Fallout, the show dropped like that. Stranger Things drops like that. A lot of shows do. Like, is that something you would want, or do you think that would help people be like less impatient. Like you would get all that story. So whoever wants to go.
I mean, you mind if I go?
Good.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not as sympathetic to people who are impatient.
Yeah.
You know, I personally, like, I would love a show to drop on the first day, like the whole show, right? Like that's cool because then you can binge it all at once if that's something you want to do or not. But I also know that the way that we've been getting them, it lasts longer and it's more fun and we get to enjoy it for longer. And if I want that, then I have to be a little patient, you know, to get, you know, the environment of the fandom, good or bad, but obviously we like to focus on the good. You know, talking with friends about whatever show is out, you know, that's what's special. And like, you know, that's our favorite part of the Star Wars community is the community. So it's like when, you know, even now, like with, again, I don't want to dwell on it. There's negativity, but it's like, even now with all the stuff that's going on, we're still enjoying the show. We're still, you know, obviously we're here with you guys. We're talking about it. And like, the more that lasts, you know, the better, and the better the community thrives, whether it's Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, whatever it is. I feel like if you are upset that something isn't answered in episode 3 and calling it a plot hole, that's like a you problem, you know? Like,
just wait.
Yeah.
Just give it.
Yeah,
just
wait.
a little bit of time.
Exactly. I agree with all of that. Yeah, I think that this just goes to the different versions of storytelling that we have presented with us with like modern filmmaking, because like there is like the binge model of like you will have the story will progress really quickly and you know episodes are going to drop just immediately. So it's not like it's cliffhanger, like someone like died and then you don't know what's going to happen for like a week. I like that Star Wars is doing the weekly releases, and this is the show that has been literally the most suspenseful and the most mystery out of all of them. It's not just the story of the week or monster of the week type like style show we had like with Mando for a while, which is fun in its own right. Yeah, you know, like a classic.
Here and there,
like,
yeah.
You got me. But this is like the only one so far to have this, like, it is a genuine mystery all the way through. And I'm super excited that it is just like the one episode a week. I'm still like really salty that like Fallout dropped all at once. I'm sorry. I'm gonna bring that up like again.
a lot of Fallout.
Sorry, too much Fallout chatter today.
Which that was amazing too, by the way.
Great show. Beautiful.
Just incredible. And hey, you know, I want weekly releases too because I'm a pretty patient guy. I don't binge watch very often.
Right.
Once a week is usually the way to go for me. And also,
you're the most patient person I know.
I'm very patient. I'm the most. I just ooze patience always.
He's not.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
Case by case.
And I have a Boston accent. But
no, you don't. That is not case by case. That is fact. You do not.
Speaking as a Star Wars podcast / content creation channel, weekly releases, please. I don't want us to go the route of Fallout where everybody was talking about Fallout for like 2 weeks. And then
it was over.
And then it's over.
And it's over,
and
exactly.
And it's like now I'm just like itching for Fallout season 2, and it's like
that's the answer there. I
80
mean, I guess
away.
it's almost like a movie at that point, but
I feel like that also like is a disaster for spoilers because there will be people that will post the like what happens in the last episode.
That happened to me with Fallout.
Yeah, like he got part of it ruined. So it's like not everyone can sit down and watch 8 hours straight of something, you know?
I got the very last, like the big reveal
that
of the final
brutal.
episode.
The fans of the games, brutal.
Yeah. So like, I feel like that also plays a big part in it of like, not everyone can watch it immediately. So it's better if it's
especially an entire show, like a movie. Obviously it's different, but like 8 episodes, an hour each ish. That's not everyone can sit through that. We might, but like not everyone's gonna do that.
No,
you know,
people with kids and like full-time jobs, and I don't know.
So speaking of movies,
it's a job.
Sure. So speaking of movies, I want to actually move into getting into the episode and just like lead off with this episode reminded me of The Last Jedi.
A little bit.
Yeah,
there was a lot of it.
Last Jedi
And the Phantom
mentioned.
Menace.
And the Phantom
like
Menace.
one scene.
Like a couple.
No,
Looking at
one.
the test thing, a cup, a ship.
That's true.
Okay, two.
That's true. We had
There
a
we go.
Tuca cat
Midichlorians,
and whatever the hell else that thing was.
That was the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's we'll break down the episode a little bit further. So actually getting into the meat of this episode halfway through. Nice. Very cool. So 16 years ago on Brendock, the episode was a full flashback. I am so excited. This one also was just named Destiny. So from the very beginning, we knew that it was just going to be one person's point of view, because the episodes so far have been two names with like a slash, and so May and Osha's point of views kind of deal. But this one is just Osha's point of view, and that's so important to remember when consuming this episode.
Yes.
Like Jordan, if you were listening, that's the Last Jedi connection. We'll get more into that.
Yeah, so that's one of the first like Last Jedi connections. But I want to kind of kick us off with this entire episode is kind of more so destiny versus choice, and like being like selfless, but then also versus being self-centered. So like what do you guys like think like about that? Because there was like a few times this episode both destiny and choice were mentioned by multiple people. But I think that was like the most like overarching like theme in this episode.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Eric, Hell, and Bella, you guys want to go?
Want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know. I love revisiting these themes. I think it's one of the biggest themes of Star Wars in general is destiny, and how your destiny is your choice. It's not pre-written, right? The prophecy of the chosen one was pre-written, but not how it happened, not how he was going to do it.
Exactly.
And we see these choices of what your destiny can be play out throughout Star Wars. We see it with Anakin, we see it with Luke, we see it with Rey, we see it now with Osha and May. I think it's really it's our journeys, right, as people, of understanding that it's up to us eventually. Inevitably it is up to us. So I liked it. I mean, I loved, I don't know. I love the episode. So
good. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I really like that. We've really seen that theme fleshed out the most with Anakin and Vader, right? So we see that with like Vader in the original trilogy, and then we see it with Anakin in the prequel trilogy. But I really like that this is like sisters. This is twins. So it's like we're seeing one good twin and one evil twin, but you're really getting that parallel, like it's right there. That comparison between the two and how both of them could go either way, because they do show like the good twin shows evil tendencies and the evil twin shows good tendencies too. So I really like how they're kind of like playing with that in the series. I think it also brings up an important point that nobody is completely evil and nobody is completely good. And that is something that the Jedi and Sith have always been like at odds with. And like the Jedi are trying to get rid of the Sith are trying to get rid of the Jedi. And there needs to be a balance. And that's always been the point. It's like there needs to be a balance between the two. So I'm excited to see how that plays out with the twins.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Jamie. No, you go.
No, I don't know where I'm going yet. I'm reading my notes. I was hoping you were going to. I'm like,
in my notes, the biggest theme, I guess, for the episode for me was just moral challenges.
When we're diving deep into themes, we never dive deep into themes outright. Like, what is this? What?
Well, I mean, with this episode,
I'm just sitting
we're getting deep.
Women, happy as clam.
That's the thing with this episode, right? Because the first two episodes, you have like, I don't know, I don't want to call it classic Star Wars, but you have like the Jedi going around. There was a lot. The first episode was like breakneck pace. Is that how
you got it? That's it.
It was just flying. There was so much going on being thrown at you. This was a lot more. I don't want to call it a simple episode because it was really complex, but it was one little story going on that planet. Very I'm not talking about the themes here, I guess, but like as far as I liked it, I did like it. I wasn't like, it didn't end and I was like, oh my God, that was like so exciting. Like I might have been after like, I remember like the Ahsoka premiere. I was like, oh my God, like this is like Rebels. Like this feels so fun. Sabine and the music playing. Like this was kind of like a different feeling of like, oh, like that was really interesting. That
this
was
episode ended and it's like, there's a lot more going on.
Got a bad feeling about this.
Honestly, yeah.
Kind of enjoyment. Like I was just thinking a lot. As Matt probably would like. I literally looked like the thinker, the statue. That was me after that episode.
True story. That was him like the entire episode, actually.
Yeah, I just leaned over the whole time, like,
This is how we do it. That's how you got to do it.
I was just fascinated. It was everyone's using the word refreshing. That's what this era is. That's what this show kind of is. That's what this episode was. Very different. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Matt, what are you thinking?
Oh God, I'm thinking a lot.
What's your opening take then?
The thread.
First of all, the thread, very clever. The thread has a lot of significance. These witches are all incredibly obsessed with togetherness, with everybody is kind of interconnected, interlinked by a thread, which is incredibly important if you know, kind of the idea of symbiosis. Star Wars is kind of all about symbiosis. Like George Lucas was like obsessed with it. I wrote a whole video on it, and it's going to come out any day now. I still have to record it.
Did you?
But no, I've been telling you about one of the episodes I wrote. But this is basically the idea: is symbiosis. The themes that kind of George Lucas was inspired by things from Hindu religion and Buddhism and things like that, where everything's kind of interconnected, everything is tied together, and the Sith are the exact opposite of all of that. When you are a Sith, you are selfish. You are cut off from the interconnectivity of the world, of the galaxy, I should say, of life in general. You work for your own selfish goals instead of being selfless, which is what the Jedi strive to be. They're not always that, but they strive to be selfless. The good is selfless. The good is selfish. That's kind of the core of this idea. And May, turning her back on everything she was raised on, all of these witches are all about the community, and joining the Sith for her own personal selfish goals is just incredibly tragic. That was like the main thing I could not stop thinking about. I love this idea that the Force is the thread for these witches, because that's such a cool kind of like a synthesis of what George was kind of setting up with the Force, and it's almost like a distillation of the idea. Like it's to its core, like this is it. Thread, everybody's connected. So I really dug that. And I just love, seeing. I want to see May's side of the story. We saw Osha's POV, but I'm really dying to see May's POV, because that is going to be very interesting, counteracting kind of like what she was raised on.
I guess to talk about The Last Jedi again, when like we see those three versions of like Luke and Ben Solo.
Did he tell you what happened?
Yeah. It's very skewed. Like, I don't know if we've mentioned this already, but like we see like evil looking Luke, but that's not how it really was. Like
the one that everybody loves to share online, but it's not the actual.
It's not the actual.
It's not the actual Luke Skywalker.
But here's how it really happened. So in the final like scenes, and I know Jamie, we're jumping to the end, but with May and Osha, it seemed very weird where May was like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you," and then she leaves. So I wonder if that's kind of the skewed perception of that, and maybe we'll see it later, and it went down differently.
Yeah, because again, like remembered like this. So this episode focused on Osha and what she was going through, what her decisions were, which is like even funnier when you like look back at it again, because Osha, the entire episode is, I want to make my own choice. I want to be my own person. I'm not you. We are not the same. I want to be a Jedi. I want to do this. It was just about her. She did not. She loves her family. She loves her mothers. She loves her sister. But it was about her. She did not want to do anything on behalf of anyone else. And so it makes sense that her version of the story is going to be first, because it's about her. like the other like thing like the entire way through is she's not going to have like the entire story. She didn't know what went down with the Jedi on the ship when May got her test. No idea. She was hanging out with Kelnaka, just like gossiping. It was great. She didn't know what was happening when her mother said that they had to do their deliberation. We don't even see that scene at all. Like we'll unpack that in a bit. And then the next time she saw May's like, I'm going to kill you because you don't want to do this. And to Osha, that's like, whoa, hey.
That escalated very quickly.
Like to her, who knows? Don't know what influenced May to come to that decision of, I'm going to tell my sister I'm going to kill her. And then
maybe she has something controlling her or something like that.
See,
probably no. Who knows?
My interpretation of it is it comes back to attachment again. Because again, everything is attachment in Star Wars. That's
by threads.
Yes. But this time it's the wrong kind of attachment, you know. A good example I have been thinking about a lot is obviously like Anakin goes from, oh, Padme, we could rule the galaxy together. And then when Padme's like, no, he's like, all right, then I'm going to kill you. And that's kind of like what is happening here, I think.
You make a really good theme. And then...
If I can't have you, no one can. If you're going to betray me, I'm going to kill you. You know, attachment is incredibly really possessive. It's dangerous. You know, makes you very angry, rash. If you let it control you, you'll do stupid things like set a book on fire and then kill like the entire coven. Although I don't think
your whole family.
I don't think the fire killed all those people. I don't.
No, definitely.
Obviously.
Well, they weren't burned.
There's something else going on.
We'll get to there. We'll get there.
I think it's really cool, by the way. Like Leslie Headland said going into the show, there's like influences from sequels, prequels, and like we literally have like reference Revenge of the Sith, Last Jedi. It's kind of like it's just really cool thing I noticed. We're talking.
It is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know, both the Last Jedi and this episode tie back to Akira Kurosawa. You know, Rashomon, which is a classic movie. It's a long one, but you definitely give it a watch. If this kind of stuff interests you, especially you, Jordan, I know you were talking about that in the chat. Watch Rashomon because it's very interesting.
There you go. Homework.
Yeah.
So let's roll it back. So maybe like 2 or 3 shots of this we get, but we have the visual of the Witch's Coven and we see the 2 moons. Yeah. And it's the logo. But it just visually looks so good. Like I love how we're in a system that has an orange and a blue moon. That's wild. But I love like seeing that and like seeing like the logo, and you do see it like move during the course of it as well because they have their ceremony and whatnot. Yeah. I
think the show looks really good.
Yeah.
Like it looks amazing.
I think so.
They didn't use the volume for this, right? It was mostly like on locations and on sets. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember seeing that they were using a lot of like practical effects too, with like puppetry and like stop motion and stuff, which I've also noticed, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I feel like the production value is definitely up compared to like previous Disney Plus shows, which is great. Love to see that. And I think the sets are really what are standing out to me the most.
Yeah,
like what's going on in the background, I think has been like really cool.
The show's reported to have like $180 million budget, which is double what Obi-Wan Kenobi had, and it shows. In my opinion, it definitely shows.
And it should, and it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the costume designer bought like 900 yards of fabric just for like the whatever dozen dresses she had to make, and I'm just like, whoa.
What is fabric made out of? Threads.
Whoa, dude!
I didn't know if you're. Okay, not to be literal, but I didn't know if you were actually asking me if this was a Jamie gets to talk about costume section or if this was
actually. So
whatever
I don't know
material you were talking about that one time that I had no clue what you were talking about.
The macrame.
Macrame. That's it. What the hell was that? You made that up.
Macrame. I did not. I did not.
She did. Yeah. It's not real.
You should have done this episode wearing your Omega jacket.
It's behind me.
I can see
not
it.
Not that anyone cares, but
I
it's
care.
Here. Look at her. Guys,
maybe later.
Look at her.
That looks fantastic.
The epilogue. Anyway, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I also see Nubs. Nubs is hanging out with Lula.
We have to have Nubs.
Season 2, Young Jedi Adventures.
Okay. I just want to point it out while it's in my mind. You mentioned the tree.
Yes.
They talk about the leaves being poisonous.
Oh yeah.
That has to play into something somewhere. It
already did.
Is that the last episode? Is that them mixing
The
up
poison
the
vial?
Is that what that is? It that from the tree? Okay, I was gonna say I wasn't sure.
I believe that came out in the guide today or yesterday, whenever the Star Wars blog posted that. The leaves that they used for the poison were from that tree.
So that's why
because OSHA points that out when she's like, "Oh, this is from Brendock," in the episode, and then in today's episode, the one we're talking about now, the kids are both like, "Oh, this is poisonous," but then one of them's like, "Only if you eat it." Duh. That's how most poisons work.
And all
I
those
really like that
kind of like dead. Not saying they ate the leaves, but maybe they ate the leaves. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I almost want to go back and rewatch episodes 1 and 2 after watching this one, because I feel like, I don't know. Of course, it's a flashback, and they didn't want to start with this episode because starting the way they did, I think, worked. But I feel like a lot of weight will be added to those first 2 episodes, and then what's to come, obviously, because of this. I mean, that's the whole point. But can we talk about how, like, I don't know if we broke it down well last week, but how chill Torben was drinking that potion? Well, poison.
The potion.
He was waiting for someone to deliver that.
Guilty about something.
Yeah, it's
he's
so
got
we
a
haven't
at the end of the episode.
Yeah,
something
that's
happened.
another one. We're gonna have another point of view of what's going on with the Jedi.
Yeah,
because like we have OSHA, we're gonna have May. We might get like an Anaseo one, and we're gonna have what's going on with the Jedi. Because what the heck is going on with
who
the
was
Jedi?
the person who directed
something
happened?
What'd you say again?
Who's the person who directed this episode? What's their name?
He had one name.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, I
directing-
didn't put you on the spot like this.
He's directing an episode later this
He's
season as
directing
well.
episode, I think 7, which makes me think that might be where we get part 2 of the kind of like 2 parts of the POVs.
I can't wait. That
that is likely.
You gotta be patient, AJ. You gotta be patient.
Yeah, patient.
Here it is.
Neither of you.
Thank
Jordan.
you.
Kogonada. Oh,
Thank you.
I just got it.
Yeah. Anyway, so where the heck were we in this breakdown?
We didn't start from the beginning. We jumped right into the deep end head first.
I started with the beginning. I said
Did we?
16 years ago on Brendock.
I went straight to the end.
You went straight to the end. You threw us all off.
I went straight to the dark side.
Straight to the dark. Gosh, let's talk about that. So there's this big pit in the middle of the witches' coven there, and that they're all gathered around, which is whatever their big destiny vessel for spirits. I don't know. How does this work?
That's what it's called.
What the heck is this place? Is it like a giant fortress? Is it like a castle? Did they build it? They didn't build that.
It's very castle-like.
You know what could be cool? Maybe there's like a ton of Kyber down there.
Oh,
maybe.
Okay,
like a force rich.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
So this is a good question, actually, that I have written down was, how did the Jedi know to go to Brendock? What were they doing on Brendock? Because they were already there, at least like Soul was like tailing the kids around, and like the witches are aware that they're there. But when did they get there? How did they know? What do you guys,
think?
This?
I think it's just a good place to play hide and seek. And Soul is just crushing it, because look at him darting behind trees. No one can find him.
He was.
Yeah.
Somebody else probably got caught.
What's
Maybe
your
the
theory,
ship
though?
just broke down and they just had to stop there, tie apart.
Yeah,
that happens.
Get a T14 hyperdrive generator.
I don't know. I think it's very interesting to me that the Jedi are interested in these girls who are much like they're older than their usual, like the usual children that they'll bring in. You know, like I think it's Master Soul that talks about that he was brought in when he was 4 years old.
Yeah,
it's like we know they bring them in very young.
4 sounds old to me too, if I'm being honest.
True. Yeah, honestly,
like, really?
They're like, I don't know what the cutoff, right? But OSHA and May are definitely older. Than the usual. But I don't know. My theory is if the Jedi are there, they must know. I mean, they obviously know about the Wiz, but they had to have heard something about how they were created, right? These girls, which again, we don't know what's going on there, but I'm guessing that whatever they did is more dark side leaning. To be able to create these twins. And if the Jedi know about it, then I feel like the Sith, wherever they are, probably know about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's exactly why the Jedi want to take these girls out of there. They probably know something or someone is coming for them.
Sith.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
I-
okay.
you know,
So like
there-
before they get taken by the Sith. Okay.
That's a good.
I could see that.
That's a very good theory. There's
I
a
know-
hooded figure during the ceremony. There's a hooded figure that appears in the crowd that never takes her hood off, never does anything, and then disappears when the Jedi show up. And
I didn't notice
think-
that.
Yeah,
We rewatched it and I couldn't find it, so
they're
we're gonna have to do a deep dive.
There's a shot where the mother is standing, and then she's like, or the whoever it is like standing like right behind her, is like cloaked. Then they're gone. When the Jedi show up, there's nobody standing there anymore. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know if that was just like an extra standing slightly too close to the main actor, and then I'm looking way too deep into it. But I
Brent
have a
claims-
feeling.
We'll have to rewatch it.
There's many hooded figures, so I don't know.
Thank you, Brent.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
not talking
witches.
about those.
That's what I was gonna say. They all had hoods on.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that one of the most interesting things with the Jedi being on Brendok is Master Indar literally says to them, the Jedi have the right to test Padawans. What is that? Like
In the Republic, right?
apparently, but
Yeah.
apparently Brendok isn't even in the Republic.
Right.
And like
Yeah.
earlier in the episode as well, Mother and Anasea says that they were exiled from wherever they came from before. So like they've been on the move. Who knows
Yeah.
how long they've been on the move. And so I think it just comes in a question more so of who is fully aware of them, and someone has obviously been keeping tabs on them, and maybe there's like an informant on the inside for all we know. That could be something.
Yeah.
That could be great.
I
actually.
definitely. My theory is that the Sith have something to do with this entire misunderstanding,
Definitely.
and learned about this power to influence the midichlorians to create life, and decided, well, I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone, and by that I mean kill all the witches. And
Yeah, their secrets die with them.
Yeah.
kill
Yeah.
kill all the witches, steal that technique,
Mhm.
and
Make the Jedi think they did it.
Make
or
the
something.
Jedi think
And-
they did it. It's just like a win-win-win for the Sith. Make
Yeah.
and Plagueis gets his influence the midichlorians to create life thing that we all have heard so much about.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I just noticed while we were talking about the tree. I don't want to skip ahead or anything.
Oh, it's fine.
In both this in the Acolyte and in the Plagueis novel, there's a poisonous plant.
Really?
Yeah, and like the Plagueis novel, it's like a flower that Plagueis feeds Darth Venomous so that he like dies and he can like try to keep him alive and stuff.
Oh.
But at first I was trying to remember if it might be the same plant, but I don't think it is. But
But it
again, it
could be. They could make
Yeah.
it.
because
Some
again, the novel technically isn't canon.
Yeah.
So like all the events in there could be loosely redone.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's a very similar like detail
Okay.
to like kind of
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything, but
Hmm.
I feel
might.
like it's a tease. to-
Yeah.
Leslie has talked a lot about how she was very influenced by Legends, so I would
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
surprised at all. I mean, this show seems to be taking ideas from Darth Plagueis or the Plagueis novel, and
Yeah.
kind of running with them, playing around with them. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was
Yeah.
the case.
I think one of
No,
the biggest things
definitely.
about this episode is it'll get better when we have more context in the future, because then we can go back and be like, oh, okay, so this is
Yeah.
why things panned out the way that they did. And like there's only so much we can like talk about right now and be like, oh, this is what happened, because we don't know.
No, yeah,
We
it's all
genuinely have no
speculation.
idea as of right now.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's like what makes it fun, is that we have this like actual mystery unfolding in front of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brent brings up a good point that May failed the test but comes out smiling. But like Jamie, I know you had a question about May taking the test, and maybe we'll see what happened when she did it.
Yeah, like we don't know what May's conversation was. For all we know is like May maybe purposely failed the test, and then maybe the Jedi called her out and we're just like, are you like failing on purpose? And maybe she lied to them, and maybe they tried to trick her back, for all we know. I don't know. I don't think that they would, but like maybe they would. But like who knows? Anything goes. I don't know.
I think this comes down to the Jedi
Yeah.
know Osha wants to go with them or is interested in them,
Mhm.
and probably know that May is not.
Mm.
And so if
Yeah.
May is failing the test on purpose and they know this and they know May doesn't want to go with them, then they're probably just going to leave well enough alone. I actually don't think the
Yeah.
Jedi would take May. If Osha, Osha wants to be a Jedi. If what happened in the compound didn't happen, I think they still would have taken Osha, but I think they would have left May. Because May didn't want to go with them. And
Yeah,
I don't
agree.
think they're in the business of kidnapping children.
No.
As
Yeah.
much as it
I
is,
hope
if you want
not.
to come with me, come with me.
You
Yeah.
could sense she didn't want to go, and it wouldn't be a good fit. So like, why?
Yeah.
So why would you
They
possibly?
don't
Why would
want
you
against their
force
will.
somebody to
Yeah.
be a Jedi?
Yeah.
They're asking for trouble at that point.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
Where were we, Jamie?
Where were we? I don't
Nowhere.
know.
We're
I
No.
lost my way.
We're in the middle of nowhere.
So I see a lot of wild theories going around in the chat about like who the Sith could be. Is the Sith already there among them? I mean, the Sith probably is there among them. Like I don't think Smilo Ren or whatever we want to call him is out like behind the trees.
Why
Yeah.
not?
I think
They're good hiding spots.
there's
Nobody will
no Master Soul nailed it by hiding behind one of those. But like some people think it's I think Brent thinks it was Indara, which I don't think that's the case.
I don't think it's
it could be.
I
Be
think
a
that
twist, but
if we're throwing theories out for who we think the Sith is going to be or like who's going to develop, I think it's Mother Coral.
that's another big one.
Why? Because she's a Zabrak.
No.
Unbelievable.
Why?
She's got face tattoos
Matt,
and she's a Zabrak.
that is not why, Matt. No, it's because she's like the only one that like wants to actually push back against Anasea, and
Yeah.
like is the only one like
Yeah.
strong enough to do that.
She's a little ornery.
Yeah.
Just a little,
She's a little unhappy.
possessive.
Yep. A little possessive. What does that sound like?
And people claim she wasn't there. At
I
the
don't.
end.
I didn't see her body. I didn't see.
Hey,
I didn't really look that
yeah.
close.
Body.
But
No body, no death. I don't know.
Yeah.
And one of the other interesting things about like all of the dead witches, I don't know, are they dead? Who knows? We have no idea. They all screamed. They all screamed, and that's all that we know. And
right.
Anasea was like in like another room completely, which is like also important. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but
I didn't.
she was.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
No, yeah.
Different room.
There's a lot of missing pieces that I'm obviously we're gonna get to see it and the answers to.
Yeah.
But it's like
They're all sus.
they're us. They're
I mean, they're
all
all
This whole thing
sus,
is pretty
so
sus,
it could
yeah.
be anyone.
everyone is.
It's yeah, super. I loved it though. I loved like seeing the Force explained as threads though, and I loved this little coven of witches as well. It is so refreshing. Like we mentioned it like early on, how like there are different ways of interpreting the Force, and like it's always been alluded to in like the written works, and especially in the High Republic, there's a whole convocation of like groups who use the Force or know how to communicate with it.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to actually see it aside from the Night Sisters, and then we have this other coven now, different coven of witches. And I hope that we get more about where did they come from, and like do they have like a name for this like coven? It's just the Brendot coven right now. Like I'm just so interested by it. It's so cool. It was such like a cool concept. The characters are so cool, and I loved it.
I'm glad you brought up the convocation of the Force, because that is a great point. Why aren't they part of the convocation of the Force? You know, in the High Republic Phase 2 novels, you have the Mother who leads a group of people called the Path of the Open Hand who want legitimacy and travel to Jeddah to enter into the convocation of the Force, which is a group of groups that all worship the Force or practice the Force in a different way. You got like the Guardians of the Wills, you know, like Chirrut from Rogue One. He was a Guardian. Yeah, the Church of the Force. Lor Santeca was part of the Church of the Force. And then you had people like, obviously the Jedi, and I don't think the Night Sisters were there. But it begs the question, why isn't this coven there? What did they do to get banished, from like everywhere they went? Because practicing the Force in a different way doesn't seem to be as taboo as one might think in the Star Wars galaxy. If you look at Jeddah.
Do we know they just didn't want to be part of anything, and maybe they were just chilling on their own? Because they seemed pretty independent wanting to be independent and isolated.
You're right. They probably, they don't have to join any organizations.
Right. Of course.
But like I said, it begs, because right now there is an idea that they're saying like these guys are dark, these guys are bad news, but I don't see it. They're pretty chill right now.
They seem proud to not be part of the Republic. Yeah. They mentioned, the Republic, like, we're not the Republic. They didn't want to. They seemed like but go ahead, Eric.
No, I was just gonna say, I think I don't see them. I don't think I see them as necessarily evil at all. I mean, even the Night Sisters, obviously they've done some evil stuff, but even them, like, they're just they're doing their own thing. Like they're doing their own thing. They're minding their business. But I feel like the biggest difference that maybe, we don't know whether or not they didn't want to be part of those groups or they weren't allowed. We don't know. But the way we see the Jedi and the way we see the Sith, just as an example, like the Jedi, they don't believe in manipulating the Force or using the Force necessarily as, for their own purposes. They, oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? They accept it as it is, right? They let it flow through them. They do what the Force wills.
It's a symbiosis.
They work with it.
Yeah.
The Sith, they believe in controlling it. It's for them, right? And for doing selfish reasons, right? And not necessarily saying that this coven creating the twins is selfish, but technically that be seen as something that is selfish, right?
Kind of like playing
like
God.
It's for them.
Yeah.
It's like they're forcing life to,
it's a good point.
they're so that I feel like, again, they're not, I don't think they're evil, but there's major differences in how they see the Force and the Jedi see the Force.
I think what we need to know, and I'm sure we'll see this later on, is like, what were their intentions with creating the twins? Because if they're trying to continue their lineage that is dwindling and they're only women, and assuming, I don't know the biology of this, right? But if that was the only way they were able to have children, that'd be seen as more like moral, right? But if they were like, we need an army, we're gonna, so it can go
like
either
we don't
way,
know
and we still don't really know what their intentions are. But that is a very interesting question of like, even if you have the ability to do something like that, should you?
Yeah.
I think Leslie Headland released an interview today, not herself, I forget what publication it was with, but she talked about how I think we're going to be learning more about how the twins were created, but we're not going to learn everything definitively 100%. So it is going to be left up kind of to our interpretation on some things.
Good.
So I'm curious to know what that happened.
That's a good idea.
That is.
But
a lot of people are tying Osha and May to Anakin and saying they are the same thing. They are not even close to the same thing.
No, they're
not even close to the same thing. The Force itself creating a child in an unwitting, non-Force sensitive person is totally different from two people getting together who are Force sensitive and creating life through Force sensitivity. They created it, not the Force. So it is very different. And I think people should probably look at that difference a little more closely. I think that's an important distinction.
And for all we know too, it's like, it could have just been them too, but we don't see the spell, or we don't see like the whatever process it was. What if it took the effort of like the entire coven to do that, right? Like people are trying to say, it takes away from Anakin. No, not at all.
Yeah, if it took 40 people concentrated on doing this one specific thing, then that's a lot of people contributing to that.
That would that's like really good though, because that would really play into the whole power of one, power of two, power of many. Because like they are in it for each other, and that's it, like not for themselves in this. And so that's really thought-provoking, actually. If like the entire coven somehow had a hand in that, and like Mother Anastasia was the one to like take the action to do it, but it needed everyone's combined power. That'd be very cool. That would be really interesting. I like that.
That is really good. I think a lot of people just heard there's no father, and then immediately went to Shmi and was like, oh, the same thing. I'm triggered.
Yeah.
People like to like turn their hearing off as soon as like
people are jumping too quickly to be mad without actually thinking about it first.
Yeah, you gotta turn your hearing back on really quick because Alex and Molly said it best of Star Wars Explained, and they literally posted a 45-second clip from their stream the other night of breaking it down completely. Of this is why it's not the Chosen One prophecy, and this is why it's not the same. Even though we don't know the full story between May and Osha, it's already debunked why it's not the same.
Yeah,
I urge everyone to go watch that clip. It's on their social media. It's on their YouTube. It's everywhere. Star Wars Explained.
Yeah.
Please.
That's
I saw a little clip, but we should watch the full thing.
Yeah.
They edited it down to 45 seconds and it's perfect. Perfect. That's all you need.
It is. I mean, when I watched it live, the show that is, I was a little like my ears perked up and I was like, wait, what's going on here? Like, how did this happen? But like Matt said, you keep listening. You pay attention to what's actually going on. But it was
shut your ears off after you hear that. You keep going.
I was listening more so. I didn't turn my ears off. I was like, wait, what is going on here? But it is interesting. I mean, I don't know, like, how do we, I guess we don't know how to break down like how they created a child with the thread, as they call it.
We don't know.
We don't yet. But that's okay that we don't know yet because it's a show in which there's more episodes coming out and we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
and that's fine.
I understand why people complain when it's like we didn't even know how Plagueis and Palpatine did it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been
there were 9
long?
movies and we still don't have an answer.
we don't know.
Sometimes being a Star Wars fan is you just don't know. You just go with the flow. That's fine.
We probably shouldn't. Like, I mean, of course, people make fun of like the somehow Palpatine returned thing, but like it is funny. But like, like Poe Dameron should not know. We don't. He's us basically. We don't know how somehow May and Osha were born.
Poe of all people, how the hell is he gonna know?
Yeah, exactly. I know. Like,
sweet boy, not a thought behind. He
has to break the news. No. Oh my gosh.
Wasn't the guy to break the news. But anyways,
let's wrap it up. Was there anything else in this episode that was burning that you guys wanted to
Kelnaka
stream about?
Kelnaka's bald. Did I say that on the stream? Or did I say that before the stream?
That is not what I thought you were going to say.
Kelnaka's bald as hell, dude. What the hell? He shaves his head. He shaves his head. He's like a little shaved dog, dude. Look at his skin.
I have to look at that again.
You have to look at him. It's so funny. He has like the samurai haircut. It's so good, dude. It blows my mind.
I might send it. I might send it and do the Kelnaka cut.
You gotta do it for the fun.
For Star Wars Celebration.
A little bit.
Did a Viking
cosplay.
That might be offensive. I don't
know. Neck down. Oh my god.
Good lord.
No, it's not.
I have a Kelnaka pin
because yes, you know what? We are sorely lacking in the High Republic pins department.
Yeah,
and we actually have a Stellan Geos coming very soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's our current Patreon pin term. So if you guys are interested, check out our Patreon. But yeah, I want to do like a pin of everyone in the show already, and Darth Teefers as well. He's
Darth Teefers,
whoever that is.
I've heard that one. I like that one.
I love all the different names.
I know.
Milo Ren, Darth Smiley, Darth Teethers.
AJ's been calling him Smilo Ren, so Darth Teefers is good though.
No, I'm excited. All the characters have been cool. The robes are beautiful. Like
the costume design.
Costumes are peak. I'm here for it.
Jennifer Bryan, so good. She's done all the costumes. Incredible, so good.
See the robes on screen like that, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I did just want to. We didn't really talk about Mother Anastasia, but like one of my notes was just Mother Anastasia was awesome.
She was.
Like, we're gonna get the character of the week in our next segment here, which I might as well just flip it there now.
Yeah, just flip it.
Whoa,
there we go.
Just flip it.
There it is.
So hang on. Character of the week is when we all just pick who our favorite character from this week's episode was, and then at the end of the season, we're just gonna count up how many likes everyone got, and then someone will be the character of the show.
There's a new
unbiased
piece to it though. Remember last week we had Kyle Katarn. That was we
turned
turned it
Australian
into
there for a sec.
characters of the week. So it's our legit character of the week that we loved, and then it's also our Glup Shido background character of the week.
Oh,
So
I forgot about.
Does it have to
start
be
with
Acolyte
Glup.
or it can be?
Yes. So
yeah, it has to be
we're
from the
doing
show.
the
Okay.
episode. From the episode.
if you're not sure from this
Hmm.
episode, I'll allow from the entire show so far.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair
No.
because there weren't like a
I know
ton of
yours.
characters in this episode.
No,
Um,
yours.
So give it a think, and I guess AJ will give
Okay.
us his ideas first.
I have to start. Okay. Mother Anasea was my character of the week. I thought she was a really great character. Very comforting, but also like badass and spooky, like a witch sort of should be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good witch.
I
Bad
think
witch, bad witch.
in Salem, Massachusetts, this Halloween, they should have a. What was this group called?
The coven. Just the
Yeah,
friend doc
they
witches.
didn't call
Mother-
themselves.
They didn't have a name.
Mother Anasea's group.
Yeah.
They should have a costume meetup in
Yeah?
Salem or something
the
like that. I don't know.
Do it.
Let's do it.
I don't know what I'm getting at. I wish it was
Let's
Halloween.
Do it.
My Glup Shido of the week. Oh god, the old
The old bat. I loved the old bat.
Oh yeah.
She came out of
It was
nowhere.
so good.
Oh,
Where the
yeah.
hell did she come
The
from?
bug?
The Masconada, yeah.
Yeah, she kind of was very Maz-esque. So there you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah, whoever wants to go next.
Matt, do you have choices?
Oh well, my
Or do
character
you, need
for
to,
the
do you need
week
to come back?
is definitely Kelnaka, Bald King. Cannot get enough of him just like fixing things and then just being bugged by kids and being like, "What do you want?" But she's like, "Oh, this is cool." And he's like, "Get out of here!" But she doesn't understand Shriwook, so she's just like going along with him, just following him.
Shout out to Torben, who had like 2 lines.
Shout out to Torben, who got like controlled.
we didn't
that was
talk
pretty
about
dark.
Oh my god, we didn't
That
talk
was
about
pretty
that.
dark.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
That's
That
pretty
was
dark,
creepy.
right?
Okay.
That's pretty dark.
So
That's pretty. That's not, I don't know
Pause.
about that, guys. I don't know about
Um,
that one.
the entire ascension ceremony we kind of glossed over. But the ascension ceremony and Torben gets possessed, the eyes totally blacked out. Holy smokes, I'm terrified.
That's freaky.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
No, that was pretty creepy.
it was.
And I would say that that's a pretty good piece of evidence for these witches being a little sus, a little dark, a little not good.
Yeah.
Um,
And everything really quick, I don't know if we mentioned this, but did you guys notice how everything was 2?
everything
Like
was-
even on the walls, like there was 2 lights, there would be 2 pillars or 2.
I did
There were
not
2
notice that.
flames on
didn't
like
notice that.
Oh, yeah, on the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Everything is
Huh.
2, and obviously
Mhm.
the twins and then
There
the
you
power
go.
of 2 or whatever.
And then they were fighting like in the combat. They were fighting 2 people at once.
Right. Huh.
So I don't know. I think that might be alluding to some Sith background, or I don't
rule of
know,
2?
rule of 2
Ah.
stuff.
Yeah. I like it.
Maybe.
This is all good. I
Just
really
just an observation.
we just
And
started-
the other 2 thing was Indara. In episode 1, we know she has the 2. I guess they're tattoos.
Oh yeah, the little
tattoos.
in her
And then
eye.
she had
Teardrop.
one.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
interesting.
she do, man?
Maybe she
Mm.
is the Sith.
Is that like a teardrop? Like
That's what
Yeah,
I mean. Like, what
I
she
killed
do?
I killed a man, but she only killed 2 people.
So that's
Okay.
it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Matt, who's your Glup Shadow?
Oh, definitely the that one extra that stood a bit too close to Mother Anasea with the hood and made me think that they were a Sith.
Background extra who stood too close. All right. Bella, who was your character of the week?
my character of the week is gonna have to be Pip, just because I am obsessed with droids. Like whenever there's a droid, they immediately become my favorite. And I just love that he's like a little cassette player, like his little Walkman. Like I love how like retro that feels, and like he's just cute. Like I want one. That's like
I
just
think
put him
everybody
in my
does.
pocket.
Is that your Glup Shido?
No, that's my favorite character.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Arakel, who was your character of the week?
I mean, I did love Anasea. She was really cool. The coven and the witches, they're awesome. But I don't know. I'm Soul Patrol, man. Soul Patrol.
Hey.
Soul Patrol.
It's I don't know. I'm digging him. He's
so good.
Like I think
So
obviously we don't have the full story, so he could come out to be a monster, and I'm hope to God I'm wrong.
doubt it.
Imagine
I
that.
doubt it. But I don't know. He like the way that he was talking to May, and like how it just everyone's making the comparison, but I picture Qui-Gon, right? That level of Jedi, that level of experience and wisdom, and there's more to him.
His smile is just so unbelievably genuine that I just want to give him like a big old hug. And to say that in an episode where there's like a giant Wookiee Jedi, to say that I want to hug Soul more than I want to hug that Wookiee Jedi.
I feel it though. Yeah, I feel it too.
He's just so good. So good.
He is great.
Glupshidos, from this week or from the show so far, if you need to.
I don't know if this is a Glupshido, but I feel like balding Torben is like really
balding Torben.
Specifically,
yes, been that long. Like
Torben's
he looks
hairline.
way older.
What happened, buddy?
Just from the stress and from the guilt.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like
bro.
I love that storytelling of like they literally brought in a hairstylist to be like, what would 16 years of guilt of whatever it is look like? Because he had nice hair, like he had thick curly hair.
Yeah, luscious.
And then he's just like he's
Who
all
aged worse?
forehead.
And take into consideration,
Torben.
Also take into consideration that he's been like in like meditation for 10 years,
like peace, like
yeah.
So it's
wild.
like he'd be completely
bald. He'd be dead. He'd look like Palpatine.
He'll be
He's dead now.
He'll be dead.
I want to point out that Torben jumped from Padawan to Master, not just Knight, but Master in 6 years before he decided to take a 10-year Force nap. I think that's pretty impressive.
I didn't
good
even
for him.
put two and two together. That's
good for him.
Damn,
He's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna learn more about him for sure. But yes, balding Torben would totally count as a Glupshido. Specifically.
Okay, cool.
Did we talk about
Torben
this
took the hair from the front of his head and he moved it down. That's what he did. To grow his hair.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, for like our entire recap of the Bad Batch, like we would do the character of the week selection, and I would always pick like one really like unhinged like thing and then an actual character. So I was doing the whole Glupshido thing before, but whatever. But it was literally things from like the fact that like Hunter's new headband was like tied differently in the back. I'm not even kidding. That was a choice I made one week for like anyway.
Well, I might be aligning with that similar theme here. I'm gonna pick their Jedi ship that they go to Brendok on.
Yeah. What the heck was that?
Oh my God.
Look good.
The interior on that ship.
Nice.
Beautiful.
It was very like Art Deco or so. It was very weird, like
very
English, very
cool
British
stuff.
or something. Yeah.
Great British.
What?
Very British.
I thought you said great British. I was like,
It looked like a British kitchen or something. I don't know. Like
the great British.
Not that I really know what. Not that I know what that looks like.
Been to a lot of British kitchens, have you, Age?
Yeah.
Wait, how about the
like
Jedi like camper thing?
I like the
Airstream.
Jedi camper.
That thing.
The
Yeah, the
Airstream.
streamline.
Yeah.
No, it was like it looked like a legitimate like Airstream camper. Like
Yeah.
Like they just doctored it up a little bit.
Loved it.
Hey, that's Art Deco. Why not?
There we go.
I love that. Once we get the name of it, I'll write that in later.
Yeah.
But the Jedi ship, we got it. Okay. So my choice, character of the week, I'm also going to pick Mother Anasea because she was so strong this week, and I was like entranced every single time she was on screen. And I hope that we get to see more of just like what motivates her and like more of the history. And I just am really looking forward to seeing more of that. And my Glupshido was the Tuca cat on the iPad.
Yeah.
Don't forget our buddies.
Leonardo
just on there.
DiCaprio meme. Like, oh my God.
There it is.
Okay, I know that Alex from Star Wars Explained pointed this out, and I agree with him. I find it easy to believe that the kids would know what a Tuca cat was, but what the hell was that second thing?
We
What
saw
the
a
heck
meme
was
about
that?
that. It was great.
What? How is she supposed to know what that is? I don't even know what that is.
It was like some comm
Like a
spike
satellite or something.
satellite
Like a
station.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
it's
like Cloud City.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
like
Cloud
a-
City.
Yes.
mining platform. So if you said any of those
A
things,
buoy, a beacon.
yeah.
Sure.
Oh, that's the Tabana gas mine operation on Beston.
She's supposed to guess Tuca Cat and Tabana mining gas operation buoy.
Spice mine.
And then if she says, "Oh, it's this," and they're like, "Actually, it was Tabana spice mine buoy." You didn't get that right. You don't have the voice. Like, what the heck is she supposed to do? In episode 1, it was a cup and a ship. I know what those are. That's easy.
They simplified the test by then.
Yeah,
like, let's take that one out.
They were like, they keep failing these.
I don't know what the hell these are. I'm just gonna have to simplify it. It's a cup.
Oh my god. Okay.
Did we ever reveal who won character of the season for Bad Batch?
Yeah, it was Echo.
It was Echo for some reason.
He was in like 3 episodes.
He was in 3 episodes.
Like,
That's
I don't think he was even really in the show.
But he stole the show every single episode he appeared in.
He crushed
Amazing.
it. Crushed it.
His arm count is
Yeah. Omega and Crosshair are a close second though for
the Bad
What
Batch. I
about
don't remember
the
if we actually said that. Yeah, the crocodile.
Sorry,
No, we're not talking about the crocodiles.
For a minute.
We're not talking about that today.
That was my character of the week.
Oh my god, every week. Anyway, so this has been the Acolyte, season 1, episode 3. Yeah, we're only in 1 season so far. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for joining us today and chatting Acolyte and just like Star Wars fandom with us. We had a wonderful time having you guys on. Where can people find you on social media if they aren't already following you guys?
No, definitely. Well, thank you. We were, it was so much fun. We appreciate you guys having us on. You can find both of us at Punch It Chewie Press on Instagram, YouTube. Twitter's different. It's Punch It Chewie 77, but that's my personal one. And then
so I have like my main accounts are Isabella.Amadala on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. And then my Stargirl Magazine stuff is Stargirl Magazine without an I. So STARGRL.
Yeah. Oh, and find us on Punch It Chewie Podcast on socials as well. And our podcast you can watch on YouTube on our Punch It Chewie Press YouTube or listen wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Yeah, so this has been the
Thank
Holland
you.
Riders podcast. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. Sorry, the chat might be over here. I'm not sure where it is. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat tonight. It was chatting along. If you've been watching and it's not live anymore, thank you for tuning in anyway. If you've been listening to the audio version, thank you guys so much for listening. You can take us to go onto your favorite audio podcast platform. The episodes get uploaded a few days later, or you can just find it here on YouTube. We're the Hollow Knight Marauders. We're on social media. And we'll catch you guys next week with another episode of The Acolyte. And I don't know, maybe we'll have more context on the Witch's Coven by then. Who knows? Whatever.
Hopefully.
We'll see you guys next time on the Hollow Knight Marauders podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
everybody.